He's a Little League coach, a husband, a dad of 4, and he can't wait to see Avengers. Jason Raitz.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me some time. My name's Jason. I grew up in the amazing city of Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, what I find, is a whole heck of a lot like Beal City. Like, there's so many similarities. It's been absolutely incredible. But when I grew up in the city of Detroit, I had a best friend, and every day after school, we'd go over to his house. He had an incredible bedroom. His parents, just spoiled him. My parents didn't let me get a TV in my room, nothing. My friend, though, had a sweet TV. He had a Nintendo. This is big back in the day. And every day after school, we played either Super Mario Brothers, or we played Duck Hunt. If I never heard of this, you're like, what the heck is Duck Hunt? Contra. We had an amazing time in this room. Sometimes we put up the music up loud, we play some Ice Ice Baby. Vanilla Ice was cool back then. Maybe he's back, I don't know. We'll just see. One day, we're in his bedroom, and we hear a giant scream come from his mom down in the dining room. So we run out of his bedroom, and we see his mom. Now, let me just say something about my best friend's mom. I don't speak about moms very much, but I will speak about her, because she was an amazing mom. This lady could make the best French toast I have ever had in my life. I mean, I'm talking her toast was good. I mean, you would put one bite of this French toast in your mouth, and your body would go numb from the French toast magic. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. We walked into the dining room, and this wonderful woman was ripping apart her vacuum cleaner. We're like, what is she doing? Well, let me back up for a second. This family had a beautiful little bird that used to sit in their dining room. Sat in a little cage, and it would just chip all day, chirp. This thing was just annoying. We'd be sitting there eating the French toast, and we're like, just enough already. I want to enjoy my toast. Because it's so French-delicious. So good. This day, though, she's a little bit impatient. She's cleaning the dining room, and she walks over to the bird cage. If you've ever cleaned a bird cage, you know there's a little tray that comes out. And you dump the bad stuff, you put the tray back in, and it's all good. Well, this day, she gets a little shafty. She takes the hose out from her vacuum. She opens up the door to the bird cage very carefully, ever so carefully, and just puts the hose into the bird cage to clean out the no-no stuff. Well, the bird is sitting there, and he's just like, what are you doing? There is a strange object in my home. Get out of my home. At that same moment, the phone rang. Let me rock your world for a second. This is when a cord was attached to phones. This is crazy. She reached for the phone, and at the same time, she had the hose in the cage, and wouldn't you know it, Chippy goes for the ride of his life. She sucked up the bird, and when we come out of the dining room, she's ripping it apart. Like, what did you do? She finally finds this little bird. He's fine. She puts him in his hand. He's got hair all over him, like a toenail on his eye. It's just disgusting. And she's all worried now. What am I going to do? So she runs over to the faucet, turns it on full blast, and Chippy's just like, she's got to get him dry, so she runs to the bathroom and gets the hair dryer out. He's not dry yet, goes to the microwave. Kidding. She would never do that. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I tell you that story because when I think back to that time of my life, I can relate to how Chippy felt. I mean, he was beat up, he was pushed around. And we use this word bully a whole heck of a lot lately. You hear it on TV, there's a movie coming out, it's all called Bully. You see it on Facebook and the internet. We talk about bullying all the time. I tell you that story because I don't want to make light of bullying, but we can all relate to feeling bullied. We can all relate to doing it. So I don't know if you've ever thought about what exactly it means to be bullied. Because a lot of us, we think we know what bully is, but there's some kind of misconceptions about the word. We think any mistreatment from somebody else is bullying. Like if someone's mean to us or someone doesn't include us, that could be part of it. But sometimes in our relationships, we're just going to have conflict. Bullying is when I use my power, my physical power, my social power, my emotional power, to take away your power. It's when I use my ability to feel better about myself by making you feel small. That's what bullying is. Bullying is when we belittle each other, when we exclude each other to the point of pain. That's bullying. That's bullying, and it just can't be. It just can't be. I thought I was bullied. But my first 8th grade year, I had this massive crush on this girl, Tina Clenson. She'd walk down the hall, and the whole hallway would go in slow motion. I mean, she'd just walk, and she swung her hair like people would just fall over from the goodness of how good she smelled. And light, right? She'd open up her locker. Whoa! It was amazing. She had a trapper keeper that was just like, oh, look at your trapper keeper. It's amazing. I had a giant crush on her. So first 8th grade year, and listen, if you're like me, you've repeated 8th grade, come on, let's start with fun. Some people have to do 8th grade 3 times, all right? It just happens. So that night, a bunch of us are going to this place called a roller rink. This is a crazy place. You put wheels on your feet, and you go around. We just weren't created to put wheels on our feet. I don't know. I'm just not down with that. But I couldn't do it. But that day during school, I passed her a note because I wanted her as my girlfriend. And so I wrote a note to her. I said, "Dear Tina, this is Jason, the guy who sits in the last row you've never talked to. Would you be my girlfriend? Why? Or N? Question mark." I really thought this thing out. Now, it's dangerous passing notes, right? What if the teacher gets it? What if somebody else gets it? What if a friend? It got all the way up, got to her, and I just shook her hair, and like the magic fell out. And she wrote on it, she tossed it back, and it came to me, and I'm like, oh, what is going to happen? I opened it up. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in my life, I was in a committed relationship. Now, I'm like 10 seconds in, but I want to treat this girl right. I want to open up doors. I want to make sure I talk to her parents. I just want to do things right. So that night we go to the roller rink. The magic moment happens. The lights go dark. The disco ball comes down. And the DJ says these amazing words, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for couple skate." And oh, we're doing a dance even now as I think about it. Because you know what's about to happen. She's on the other side of the rink. She comes skating over to me, just in her magic. And I come skating to her, doing my thing. And our hands come together. I'm not talking about how you hold your grandma's hand. I'm talking about how you hold a hand, if you know what I'm saying. And my hand was so wet from sweat, I gotta get it. It's so nasty. She goes to hold on to it and just slips off. I'm like, I'm sorry, get it back, please get it back. And we're skating, and now I'm in a committed relationship for 3 hours and 17 minutes. This is huge, okay? This is huge. And the song was playing, and halfway through the song, she looks at me. She lets go of my hand, and she says, "This isn't working out. I'm not going to be your girlfriend anymore." And she skates over to the side. And she skated right over to my best friend, Mike, and grabbed his hand, and they started skating. I said, "Are you kidding me?" Now, you can't make some true life stories up. This is the song that was playing in the background. I'm going to sing it for you. Okay? It's going to give you nightmares the rest of the day, but I'm going to do it. This is the words to the song. "It must have been love, but it's over now." That was the song that was playing. It must have been love, but it's over. And my heart was broken. I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship where someone broke your heart. You're angry, you're frustrated, you just want them to like you. That happened to me. And really, I thought that mistreatment was bullying. I thought, oh man, this is the worst thing ever. We all have situations that happen to us where we think it's bullying, but we've got to understand why it's so important to live a life of kindness and not bullying. To live a life of kindness and not bullying. So this is my challenge to you today. Choose kindness over bullying. Choose kindness over making someone else feel small, or excluding them, or belittling them, or making fun of them, or physically harming them, or saying something online that's negative and derogatory. Choose kindness because it always ends up better. it always ends up better. I think the end of bullying starts with you, and it starts with you, and it starts with me. Because every day we have a decision to make. We can be a part of ending it. We can be a part of ending it. I've seen it huge in my life. When I was in high school, one of my friends, no joke, 6'9". 6'9". That's one tall cat, had to duck every time he went in and out of doors. I didn't hit 5 feet tall till I was in 11th grade. I was not one tall cat. 5 feet tall, I was 4'6" my freshman year, and about 4'6" this way, and I was a target for bullying. I was a target for people to make fun of me. I just was. And so what I did is I tried to be the funny guy so people wouldn't laugh at me. I would juggle at lunch. I'd do whatever I could so people wouldn't laugh at me. I felt the pain of how words can affect you. My buddy, 6'9", nobody talked to him at school. Now here's why. Because he actually had a disease where he had a hunchback. And he had to walk around like this. And he was 6'9", and he looked me eye to eye when he walked around. And kids mocked him ridiculously. His head was kind of disproportionate, and his eyes were disproportionate. And because he was different, it was painful to watch kids ridicule him. He would walk up to his locker, and his hands weren't very steady. And so he would try to open up his locker, and it would take him 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And just as he would get it open, somebody who wanted to make somebody else feel small would come up behind him and slam it shut. And then one of his other buddies would knock his books out of the ground. He had a hard time sitting in desks because he was so tall and because of his back. And one day at lunch, I was sitting there with another friend, and I never sat there. And now I look back and I'm ashamed of myself because I should have included him. And I'm sitting at lunch and my best friend at the time, Francis, says, "I'll bet you an oatmeal cream pie from Little Debbie." Little Debbie? What? I love my Little Debbie. I bet you a Little Debbie that you won't go sit with him. Nobody sat with Rob at lunch. Nobody. So I walked over to him and I sat right across from him. And he looked me eye to eye and he said, "Jason, you don't have to sit with me." Have you ever felt like your character was shattered? You ever felt like inside you want to be a leader? You want to be somebody who achieves great things? You want to live a great story with your life? And you just get a reminder that you just failed? That was it. And that day, I said, "Rob," I apologized to him. I said, "I'm sorry." Rob was an incredible man. He now actually works in Costa Rica doing charity work, and he works at an orphanage. And I see pictures of him on Facebook, and there's orphan kids all around him. And he's got like 7 on his back and his arms, and he cares for them. And I asked him one day, "How do you keep going when people are so mean to you?" And he just said, "I choose to be kind." So that's my challenge to you. Choose kindness over bullying. Choose kindness over bullying. See, here's the thing about kindness. Kindness is victory over pleasing yourself. We live in a self-centered, selfish world. I want what I want right now. I'm going to ask you to think a little bit differently. How about think about somebody else's needs first? Crazy thought. Crazy thought. See, kindness is victory over self-pleasing. Kindness is when you say, "I'm going to choose kindness because I will live a great story with my life. And I will inspire others to live a great story." So I'm going to ask you to choose kindness. I'm going to ask you to choose kindness. Today, what we're going to do is I've been working with the life skills class for the last couple months. Has been the most amazing experience because these people are amazing. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 2 specific forms of bullying because we want to lay them out. There's lots of different ways you can bully. We talked about physical, emotional, mental, online. But what I'm going to do is just pick 2 of these forms because these are the 2 that we came up together that are really important that we need to address. So the first one is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying. every student say that they've been bullied online. I don't know if you've ever got a nasty text from somebody, a nasty Facebook message. I don't know if anybody's ever said anything to you derogatory online. I knew a 12-year-old guy about 2 years ago who somebody started a fake Facebook page and just blasted him on his Facebook page all the time. And it crushed him. It crushed him. So we could choose kindness or bullying. And my challenge to you is to choose kindness, especially online. We can say so much about cyberbullying, but I just want to give you a couple things to make sure that you protect yourself. And that's the first one. Protect yourself. Protect yourself online. You've got to know that when you're online, nothing really anymore is private. If you put something out there, it's going to be out there. So if you're sitting at your computer late at night, and somebody at school has treated you poorly, or somebody somewhere, or you're upset about something, take a second to think before you press send. Just take a second to think, because once you do, it's out there. It is absolutely out there, and you can't bring it back. You just can't do it. I was in Kansas last month talking to kids, students just like you, and this 13-year-old girl came up to me afterwards, and she was upset. Like, she just got stormed down, and she's coming right to me, and she said, listen, this kindness thing, it doesn't work. Nobody has ever been nice to me. Other girls make fun of me online. I can't even go to my Facebook page. I get nasty texts. My mom and dad aren't even nice to me. I don't know if you fall into that category, and if you do, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But here's the reality. We can still choose kindness over bullying. We can. Because a life that's centered on others, that's outward focused, you will make an incredible difference in this world, in your school, in your home. It just will happen. So as you're sitting there at your computer or your cell phone, and you're about to make a derogatory comment to somebody, think. Always remind yourself, I don't have to send this. I don't have to do it. So think about it. The other form of bullying that happens a ton is we bully people with our words all the time. Now, sometimes, I'm a sarcastic guy. Just how I am. So, somebody can ask me how I'm doing. I'm going to probably say something sarcastic. Every once in a while, I say a couple of inappropriate your mom jokes. It just happens. I'm not talking about their mom, per se. I'm just talking about, the universal mom. And I don't want to be offensive, but words come out quick. But here's the thing about words. When we were kids, we learned that sticks and stones break our bones, but words will never hurt us. Words will never, this is bad. Words will never, thank you. But that's not true, is it? Words do hurt us. I sat 2 weeks ago at a coffee shop at Central Michigan. I sat across the table from a giant man who's a linebacker on Sammy's football team. And he heard what I was doing and he wanted to talk to me. Massive guy. He's putting up 350. I don't even know what that means, but he's like, yeah, I put up 350. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll lay down 120. I don't know. I don't know what that means. So, I was the sweetest water boy on my football team. I was right there. I got the stuff. I was the girls' basketball manager. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways. But I'm sitting across the table from this guy, and all of a sudden, the conversation just turns, and I'm like, what's happening? Because he starts to get emotional. And he starts to tell me about when he was in 8th grade, people started making fun of him. And he's like, that's why, I shut off people. Because of those words. And he's like, one of the reasons I went to football is because I could hit people. I was like, I will never say anything mean to you. Because it will crush me. Words hurt. Words hurt. I need 2 volunteers. Well, let's do this. I want a freshman, and I want a senior. Is that plausible? Is this an acceptable situation? Anybody? Freshman and a senior. We got one coming. You're a senior? Senior, come on down. Seniors, give a hand to the senior. Freshman? Do you have any freshmen? Freshmen, come on. Come on. Freshmen, give a hand to freshmen. That was amazing. That was like the hand I gave something to you. We've got a freshman. What's your name, sir? Tristan? Tristan with a T. I don't know if there's any other way to do that. Thank you very much. And your name? Cicely with a C. English, math, science. Not really good for me in school, but I was in band. That was awesome. Okay, so Cicely is a senior and Tristan is a freshman. Here's what we're gonna do. We got a tube of very expensive Colgate toothpaste. This is the nicest kind you can get. It's total clean mint. I mean, this is the kind you want to get if you're going to a roller rink, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, so we're gonna all count down from 3, and my friends are going to try to empty the entire amount of toothpaste as fast as they can. The winner will win. Sound good? Okay, guys, get in position. Okay, we're gonna count down. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Go, 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 go. And you're done. Do we have a winner? We have a winner. Give it up for Tristan. Okay. All right, real quick though, we're gonna play the second part of the game. We're gonna play the second part of this game, okay? On the count of 3, I want you to get the toothpaste back in as quick as you can. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, no. Can you guys give these guys a big hand? Come on, a big hand! You guys have a seat. Thank you. Hey, if you're hungry, toothpaste is a low-calorie snack. It's healthy, you can get it. Here's the deal. Words are just like what we just see how fast it came out? We can't get it back in. Choose your words well. Choose them well. Choose words that are centered on kindness. If you have younger brothers and sisters, you know how hard this is. But do it. In the long run, it will help. It will make a difference. My grandma Ball, she was this beautiful woman. She was about this tall, this wide, and she always smelled like butter. I don't know what, if she just layered it on, but I loved her. You'd hug her and you'd slide right off. She always used to tell me, Jason, think before you speak. Just think first. Because words can damage someone's heart. You think it's not a big deal. You walk by somebody and go, oh, you're lame. Or whatever you say. It's a huge deal. It damages people's hearts. I've sat with 40-year-olds who can remember back to middle school when someone said something mean to them. Our minds are computers, they're sponges, and we remember the pain. Do you want to be somebody who puts pain in someone's life or gives them life? I mean, imagine if you changed your perspective tomorrow on school. Instead of just walking through the hallways, centered on yourself, caring only about what's going to make you happy, what if for a second you just spent time encouraging other people? What a crazy thought. What if for a day or 2 or 3, every time you saw your teacher, you just said 2 amazingly awesome words? Thank you. Thank you. What if, just crazy thought. What if the next time your mom or dad says, hey, I really need you to do this, you just say, okay. Like, why fight for 10 times? Why be stubborn? Why? It doesn't get us anywhere. I learned an incredibly powerful lesson from a friend many, many years ago. I met him when he was 12 years old. His name was Jameson. Just about the coolest kid I've ever met in my life. And he came over to our house one night. We had about 15 middle school students over, and he came over to my house, and everybody else is like screwing around and goofing off, and they're like throwing my stuff in the air, and let's see if the pizza can stick. You know, they're just doing that. And I had 3 little kids. At the time, they were like 4, 2, and 2 months or something, and Jameson comes over, and he immediately starts playing with the kids. He immediately starts helping clean up after everybody. And I notice something is different about this kid. Something is different. So we're sitting on the couch, we're just watching TV, and I said, Jameson, tell me about your life. And he starts telling me, he's like, oh, I love math. That was the first thing he said. I love math. And I was like, oh, that's awesome.
I wish I loved math because I don't get it, but I want to get it. That's so cool. And he's telling me about all this stuff, and he's like, I love movies, I love video games. I said, tell me about your mom and dad. They must be awesome. And he starts telling me about his dad. And this guy just lit up. Because Jameson had the type of dad who always made time for him. Not always, but most of the time, if Jameson said, let's go play catch, they play catch, or let's go hang out. And Jameson's dad was this huge and massive man. He climbed poles and fixed electrical wiring. And a year before I met Jameson, his dad came home from the doctor one day and told his family that the doctor said he had a disease called ALS, or it's called Lou Gehrig's disease. And in a year's time, his dad went from being this big, strong man to being in a wheelchair and not being able to get up and not being able to brush his own teeth. And now Jameson is 12 years old. Now, I know when I was 12, my parents asked me to do something, and I made the biggest deal about it in the world. And here's Jameson, 12 years old, and he's taking care of his dad. I don't know if you've ever had to do that, but it's hard. And he helped get his dad's socks on. And he helped brush his dad's teeth. And I said, do you have any brothers or sisters? He goes, I got a brother. His name's Mark. He's awesome. We play video games. We watch movies. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And he said, I don't know if Mark knows what's going on. See, Mark has severe cerebral palsy, and he's in a wheelchair. And at that, my heart just sunk. Because my family, I have a wonderful mother and father-in-law who've adopted 5 kids, all with special needs. And so I have a brother-in-law with severe cerebral palsy, and they have to put him in his wheelchair, and they have to dress him, and he doesn't respond, he doesn't talk, they have to feed him. And I have another brother-in-law. They adopted an African-American boy. He was a preemie. His lungs were so messed up, and he has mild CP. And so the right side of his body is locked up, and he walks like this. And he's like 6'1". He's an 8th grader, and he desperately wants to play basketball, but he's got a great left hand, but he can't keep up with anybody because his arms are locked up. And he went to a school where he was ripped on for being a black kid in an all-white school. And then all of a sudden they realized, oh my gosh, he's really cool. And this kid can beatbox. I'm good at beatboxing, but this guy is amazing. And so now he's cool, but he was so afraid of being made fun of. So I get that life. And I said, Jameson, tell me about your mom, because she must be an incredible woman. And with that, he got a little emotional, a little tear ran down his face. And guys, somewhere we were taught, it's not good to cry. Baloney. Baloney. Like an Applebee's commercial come on, and I'm like, oh, it looks so good. I got to get it. He starts to cry. He wipes it away real quick. I said, what's going on? And he says to me that my mom found out 3 months ago that she has breast cancer. Now, some of us, we've dealt with sickness in our family. We've dealt with family members who've died. But have you ever been in a household where your dad is in a wheelchair, your mom? This is a 12-year-old who helps his mom out of the car after chemotherapy. His mom sat me down once and said, would you just talk to Jameson? Because every day he comes home from school, and I hear these stories of how kids just mistreat him. He had big ears like he did. He would tell you, if you stand in here, he'd tell you, big ears. People made fun of that. He kind of walked like this. People made fun of it. And one summer we were going on a trip with a bunch of students to a camp, and we're all there, and there's a kid in a wheelchair, and nobody else would talk to David in a wheelchair. His arms were a little messed up, and some kids were afraid, do I talk to him? And then Jameson got there, and he spent the entire week with David. Time after time, this 12-year-old taught me to choose kindness in life. Even when you face stuff that's awful, obstacles, meanness, always choose kindness. 2 years after that, I stood at his dad's funeral with him, and I watched this now 14-year-old guy in too big of a suit stand there and hold up his mom the entire time. Jameson's 24 now, graduated from Michigan State with a math degree, graduated with a graduate degree with a double math degree. This is the coolest kid. Did he make mistakes? Yes, but he taught me that in spite of all of this, he was going to choose kindness. He was going to be a part of ending bullying. And that's my challenge to you today. This is why we brought you here, because it can end. This is something that I'm so crazy passionate about, because I see people mistreat each other all the time, and it just shouldn't be. It can change. So if you have been mistreated, I'm sorry. I've been mistreated. You have a decision to make. You let that mistreatment bring you down, or you make a decision not to treat anybody else that way, and you choose kindness over bullying. Choose kindness over bullying. This summer, I'm actually releasing a book. It's called Live a Great Story Now, and it's a whole book about how we can help live a life that makes other people's stories great. Because at the end of the day, when I start to live an outward-focused life and I care more about everybody else, what happens is my story becomes great. My story becomes great, and I can't wait to share that with you when it comes, because this has been so helpful to let me come and talk to you guys. Teachers, thank you for taking time out of class, because I know what you do is so valuable and so important. And if enough people don't say thank you, I'm sorry. I wanted to say thank you for doing this. And you guys, like if you're in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever you are, thank you for giving me a few minutes to encourage you. I hope it's something that you'll remember. I hope it's something that you'll go, wait a minute. This can happen with me, and I am going to choose kindness. I am going to choose kindness. So that I'm going to hand the mic back over, and I just wanted to say thank you.